Suppose you had data that you scraped from LinkedIn or a web scraping service that was missing some important URL information that you needed in order to cold mail them. You could write an N8n workflow that tested whether you were missing any data, send out an AI agent to fill in the blanks, and then send yourself a little email that said, hey, things have been fixed. That's what we're going to do in lesson 10 from N8n Mastery by Nick Saraev. In order to create this is a little bit different than the example that Nick used because I needed to learn a few lessons and now I'd like to teach them to you. One of the lessons is how to use a switch statement, and that was fun. You notice how there's one item going off this way and one item going off this way. It's because in the case of this data, the profile URL is missing from here and the website URL is missing from here. So we're going to loop through all the items returned in our Google Sheets and one by one test, are you missing anything? If so, I'll fill it in for you. The only thing is that I didn't actually add an AI agent to do the research. We're going to use mock data for that. Otherwise, this would be way too long. So to set up this scenario, add a test workflow trigger and then create a Google Sheets trigger. This will be of type get rows in sheet. And in the get rows in sheet, link to a Google Sheet that has some scraped mock data and leave a couple of blanks in one called profile URL and one called website. Next, add a filter, remove items matching condition, add a filter, and in the conditions, check if either the profile URL or the website is empty. So you can drag over profile URL and drag over website. Then add a loop node. The loop node does not require any edits, and it will be how we loop over each of the records in the spreadsheet. Next, on the loop portion of the output, add a switch node. In the switch node, create two rules. The first rule is that the profile URL is of type string is empty, and then the website is of type string, or is the value is equal to string is empty. That on each of those rules, click rename output and rename the first output to profile URL and the second output to website. This means if either of these switches is true, we are missing data, then we'll go to the next step. In the case of the profile URL is missing, we'll run this Google update, and if the website is missing, we'll run this Google update. So in the next node for each, one coming off profile and one coming off website, add an update sheet node. And what you'll do is match on a unique item in your sheet, in this case email, which I pulled over from the left. And this is where the mock data is. We're going to pretend that we went out and did some research, and we're going to update profile URL using mock data. In the case of website, we're going to pretend that we went out and got some data, and we're going to update, where'd the website go? There we go. And we're going to update the website with mock data to fill in our scraped data. Put a merge node on and connect the outputs of Google Sheet 1 and Google Sheet 2 for profile URL and website URL, and loop that. I'm going to take this off to show you, and loop the merge back to the input of the loop. So that is coming off of the loop output, and then off of the done output, create a Gmail send message. And the Gmail send message, the subject, create an expression and then say your data is fixed for, and then pull over the email, not from there, from merge. Pull over the email from merge. And then in the email type, it's an HTML, and then put profile URL added and go to loop over items and pull over the profile URL field, and then website added, pull over the website field. And this is an expression. Go to add option and turn off N8n attribution. So let's watch what happens when we run this. So we looped over 2 items because 2 items passed our filter that were missing information. The third run is the done mode. Then in the switch, we found run number 1, profile URL was missing, and in run number 2, website was missing. In the Google Sheet for profile URL, we updated profile URL for that row with mock data, and we did the same thing for website with mock data. Then 2 times, because we had 2 hits, we send out an email that we had fixed the data. Okay, so let's go look at the data was John Doe was missing profile URL, and now our mock data is there. And Emily Smith was missing website URL, and now we have mock data there. And our email, John Doe profile URL was added and website added as blank. And Emily Smith profile URL is blank and website added has mock data. So what you learned in this lesson is that you can loop over items and individually change each one depending on its specific needs, then merge the output and bring it back over to do it again until you're done, every record that goes through. And then you can send out reports on each one. So that is how you use split into batches, also known as loop over items, in N8n.